What if the thing that you're hoping to heal isn't actually the thing that's keeping you stuck? Welcome back to the Broken to Brave podcast. I'm so excited you're here today. Over the last several weeks, I had the privilege of interviewing women who attended BRAVE-cation, which is the ultimate healing experience in person and all-inclusive. And honestly, if you didn't listen to those episodes, make sure you go back and listen to them because there were so many things that stood out to me. But one of the things that stood out is it's not that women got what they came for, because of course they did, but they also got so much more. So the woman who came for less anxiety experienced less anxiety. The woman who came for clarity found clarity. The woman who came for confidence became more confident. The woman who came because she felt stuck started, moving again. And they all walked away with something much bigger than they thought that they were signing up for. Underneath that anxiety and that self-doubt and that overwhelm and that feeling of being stuck, they found things that they didn't even realize that they lost. Their voice, their desires, their wants, their self-trust, their sense of safety, and themselves. And today I'm just going to go through and share some of the themes that came from those conversations because I think they might change how you think about healing, how you think about anxiety, and perhaps even how you think about yourself. And maybe they'll help you understand why this experience is so much more than what it appears to be on the surface. Theme number one is that they got what they came for and so much more, right? We talked about this a minute ago. Well, we didn't talk. I talked. You know what I mean. They wanted less anxiety. They came for less anxiety. Those who wanted more confidence got it. Those who came for clarity got it. Okay, yeah. And in addition to that, the woman who came to grow her business, she discovered that she was living someone else's version of success. The woman who came to heal anxiety discovered that she spent decades abandoning herself. The woman who came for clarity realized that she didn't actually know what she wanted because she'd been checking in with everyone else's needs first. And the woman who wanted peace realized that she didn't feel safe in her own body. And I think that it's important because so many of us have become convinced that we know what our problem is. We know what the symptoms are for sure, but often that's what we're experiencing, just the symptom. And there's a lack of awareness around the root. And that's why so many high-functioning women feel frustrated, I think, because they're trying to solve the thing that they can see, when the thing driving it is underneath the surface. And so ultimately, when you come to BRAVE-cation, when we work together, you can come for the thing that you want and know that you're going to get it, and trust that there may be something even more meaningful waiting for you, that when we unlock that piece, so much more comes available. Second theme is they found themselves. They didn't find like a better version. One woman rediscovered a childhood dream that she had forgotten. Another realized that she spent her life playing the peacemaker, the caretaker, the one who never needed anything. Another described the feeling like she found her voice after she had been shutting down for years. And another described finally feeling safe enough to stop pretending. And what I want to point out is that none of them actually became someone new. And so often, I think that's the perception of a healing journey, is that, well, I have to become somebody new. No, you become more of yourself. And so when we think about healing, it's removing everything that convinced you that you couldn't be yourself. That armor, the defense mechanisms, all the things that you carried to, we'll say, quote unquote, protect yourself for years, you don't have to carry those anymore. And because people have been living their lives that way for so long, they often think that they and the armor are one and the same. And they can't tell the difference between that. And this work is so beautiful because it allows you, and I guide you to separate that so that you can see who you really are. Now, one woman in particular, she shared that she realized that she wasn't trying to become someone new, that she was really getting back to who she was before the world taught her to be someone else. And I hope you can relate to that. Theme number 3 is anxiety wasn't the biggest problem. Self-abandonment was. And over and over and over again, I heard women describe themselves as the peacemaker or the caretaker or being the woman who never needed anything, planning, life around anxiety, waiting until they felt safe enough, forgetting what they actually wanted, feeling confused around, is this my intuition? Is this fear? Are these my emotions or are these somebody else's emotions that I'm actually taking on? And forgetting in all of that what they actually wanted and what they actually felt. And in life, somewhere along the way, fear tends to become the loudest internal voice. And slowly, for many people, at least in this community, it becomes the reference point for your life. So not just for your emotions, but your decisions, your relationships, your identity, your future. And eventually, especially when you're not aware of it, the vast majority of decisions are coming from a place of fear. Fear drives behavior until you say no more. Now, one woman had this realization that she had spent so many years asking, can I handle this? Instead of, do I want this? Those two questions, they create very different lives, especially for those who don't trust themselves to be able to handle uncertainty. And when we zoom out and look at it, basically everything in life is uncertain. Okay. The 4th theme was none of them looked broken. I mean, I didn't really think that they would because I use that as an emotional feeling, not that somebody is broken, but they feel that way. That's how I felt. And, none of them actually even looked like they were struggling. They were, for the most part, women that everybody else relies on. The strong one, the helper, the caretaker, the peacemaker, the successful one, the one who figures everything out, who's holding everything together. But internally, how are they feeling? Exhausted, lonely, anxious, disconnected from themselves. And so many high-functioning women, they tend to suffer in silence in this way because everyone sees this capable person. And on the inside, it can be hard when that's not aligned to be able to say that out loud. Now, the 5th thing that I noticed is that almost every woman didn't come. Okay, so when I listened back to these interviews, almost all of them talked themselves out of it. They thought, well, maybe I should wait, or maybe I'm not ready, or can I really justify the money? Or maybe this works for other people, but what about for me? One of them even said, I feel like pretty good. Life is pretty good. And I told her at that time, that's actually a great time to come. It's counterintuitive. But a great time to come is when you feel pretty good because then you feel open to receive what's available for you. Some other things were maybe I should just wait until life settles down, or I need to heal more first before I actually go. And the voice telling them all of those things is the exact voice they eventually came to heal. That voice of fear, of self-doubt, the one that says not yet. And then what they said was, thank goodness I came. There were so many things that surprised them about the experience and what unfolded after the experience. The 6th theme that I noticed is healing isn't always obvious when it happens. So I just said what happened after the experience because One person in particular, she was wondering, okay, did I have a breakthrough? Like, that's something I wish that more people understood, is that sometimes your big breakthrough, it doesn't feel dramatic. It can be this subtle shift, subtle moment that shifts the trajectory of your life. And in that way, over the following months, her entire life started shifting in ways that she could not have anticipated at the beginning of this year. She left a relationship that wasn't aligned. She began creating art. She experienced financial abundance in ways that she didn't expect. She described everything as it's finally crystallizing. And another woman had been carrying tension in her throat for so long, and she thought, well, maybe it's a physical problem that I need to figure out and get addressed, go to the ENT. But what she discovered was that her body had been holding all of these things that she never felt safe enough to say out loud, and that she was feeling it literally in her throat. And then once she found her voice, the symptom quite literally disappeared. And one of the things that stood out to me was I didn't fully understand what happened until I got home. At BRAVE-cation, we really help your nervous system experience what's possible. And then in the months to follow, the integration calls, they really help your body build on that foundation and trust that this isn't just something that you experienced at a retreat. Now you're back in real life, and this can become your new normal. And that is one of the reasons why I love this work so freaking much, because this powerful retreat really can and does change your life when you allow it to. And your body, it has been holding the answers for so long, and being able to come back to that and come back to yourself, it's beautiful. Now, the seventh theme is BRAVE-cation is not therapy. And I want to be really clear about this. So several women talked about how different this experience is from therapy. Many of them had done years of therapy, but they realized something. In therapy, you often talk about the pattern. At BRAVE-cation, the pattern shows up in real time. Why? Because you are with humans. Then we work on it right there in that moment. So you don't just talk about people pleasing, you notice yourself doing it. You don't just talk about avoiding, you notice yourself doing it. You don't just talk about fear, you feel it and experience it. But all of this is in a safe, supportive, non-judgmental environment. And so instead of running from it, instead of numbing it, instead of trying to think your way through it or out of it, you discover you can stay with it, that you can move through it, and that you can handle far more than that part of you has given you credit for. Now, that is really when we begin to rebuild self-trust, because every time your body has a new experience like this, it really updates what it believes is possible. And that's one of the reasons why in-person work can be so powerful, because you're being guided through those shifts in real time. I'm not just up there teaching concepts. Insight matters, it's wonderful, and embodiment. Exactly what we do at BRAVE-cation is what creates that transformation. And something else that I want to add here is I've gotten this feedback so many times, and I'm trying to really say it in a way that makes sense. I will show you the mirror. I'm not one that is going to gloss over things that I see. The way that I show you the mirror is kind, gentle, non-judgmental, and I've gotten feedback over and over again that it feels safe. And so when we're together in this way, like I was describing a few minutes ago, you don't just think about fear, you feel it. I'm going to give you the opportunity to face it in a way that incorporates safety that you might not have ever experienced before. And part of me is wondering, does this make sense if if you haven't experienced it before, and maybe not? Okay. The next theme number 8, is you can't always see the pattern that you were living inside of. So Women who come into my world, they tend to be incredibly self-aware. They've read the books, done the therapy, listened to the podcasts, sometimes taken courses, done programs, all the things. Yet many of them discovered something that I would say maybe is profound. You cannot see what your nervous system has normalized. So oftentimes you are too close to the pattern to recognize it. And I know that you've seen this in other people where they had a completely obvious blind spot. And that's one of the greatest gifts of being immersed at a retreat with a guide who knows exactly what to look for is I can spot those things. And when you've been living with that survival pattern for years, decades, like I'm going to give a couple examples. Oh, I'm just sensitive. I'm really sensitive. I'm a perfectionist. I'm an overthinker. I'm a people pleaser. I'm just a control freak. I have to keep everyone happy. I'm anxious. I over prepare. I have to stay busy. That feels like who you are, but it's not. Those are protective patterns. And so until somebody, AKA it could be me, shows you this isn't you. This is a strategy that you have unconsciously chosen to use to stay, quote unquote, safe. There's nothing now that you need to stay safe from, and we can break free of that. Okay. Theme number 9. I was like, are we on number 9? We're on number 9. Okay. The safety is a big theme. And I got emotional in some of the interviews because these women, they weren't surprised by what they learned necessarily. They did feel surprised how supported and held they felt. They were surprised how quickly they trusted the group, how much they clicked with people that they probably never would have interacted with if they weren't there, how quickly they felt seen and understood, how quickly they let go of performing and pretending, and how quickly they remembered who they were underneath those protective strategies, underneath the armor. One woman, she describes, sitting on the beach. I almost said the beach after breath work and experiencing just a level of safety and peace in her body that she hadn't felt in a long time. And another one described after a breathwork session, just yellow flowers literally falling during a breakthrough moment. And just she experienced it as a reminder she's always supported. And I think that so many women, they spend their lives being the safe place for other people, that they've really never experienced what it feels like for them to be held. And I wonder, when you hear me say that, does that feel true for you too? Now, I probably said this over and over, but I think that's another reason why this in-person work is so powerful, because your nervous system, it doesn't just learn safety through information. It learns it because it experiences it. Being seen, supported, loved, challenged, witnessed in your vulnerability. Practicing something new, a new way to show up. It might feel new to you, but there's a part of you that knows it. Practicing that in real time. So, gosh, after listening to all of these interviews, and I'm going to say this again, if you didn't listen to them, go back and listen to them. Even if you feel like, oh, I never want to go to BRAVE-cation, it doesn't matter. Just go listen to these women, their experiences. Every one of them, like I said, they got what they came for, and they left with something else that they didn't know that they were missing. Do you have an opportunity to have that kind of experience where you're able to come back to who you are beneath the protection? Do you have that? BRAVE-cation, like I said, it's an all-inclusive, immersive experience where I create a safe environment for you, for your body to rebuild self-trust, and really the kind of environment that allows you to become who you actually are. And so if you've been listening to this, maybe you've been listening to the interviews and you're like, gosh, I wish I could do something like that. Every woman that I've interviewed realized there's never going to be a perfect time. Never. There was a moment where they decided I'm worth saying yes to. Because fear is going to tell you, maybe next year, maybe when life calms down, maybe when I'm more ready. And I get that because fear comes up for me too. And these women, they decided I don't have to obey fear. I don't have to feel ready. I can simply decide that I'm not going to let fear make this choice for me. I'm going to do it. And so if there's something inside of you that's saying, okay, I think that this actually might be for me, listen to that. Listen to that. And if you feel like you want to have a conversation, make sure you understand what BRAVE-cation is, what it entails, any of that. I'm happy to jump on a call. I want to give you a heads up that the early bird pricing for the next BRAVE-cation ends at the end of July. If you'd like to apply for BRAVE-cation or learn more information, you can send me a DM on Instagram or Facebook with the word retreat. And I will also put in the show notes the link to the application. I can't wait to review your applications, and I will see you next Tuesday.